Hello, welcome back. It's Talking Oscars time, and I'm going to jump right into it because I want to try to make this video in under 30 minutes, but I also want to try to talk about all the other categories. This is kind of where I see things heading into Oscar season without, uh, before the festivals. This is like my last check in before the festivals. I still have no idea what's going to be moved. I'm really leaning hard on the fact that I think Dune is going to move. I they haven't even actually made a negotiation with WGA yet. We're getting close to the end of August. Then they have to negotiate with SAG. And Dune is the kind of film that you launch a marketing campaign for. Generally, I would say now. They've already released some trailers for it, but they're gonna have to start blitzing pretty soon for it because it opens the first weekend in November. And I think David Zaslav is going to pull the trigger on Dune pretty soon here and move it. He has two other potential Oscar nominees with Barbie and Color Purple. He doesn't need Dune. And with the way that films now had to stop shooting and the way that schedules are shifting, it would be good for him to have Dune next year. So that has affected my predictions. Um, so let's start it off. Let's kick it in the best picture category. We're gonna kick this thing off. Number one, I'm still going with Killers of the Flower Moon. I still think this is the best reviewed, and Nolan with winning with Oppenheimer. I don't know. I'm trying to avoid the thing that everybody does when a film comes out and we all just go, "Oh my god, oh my god." So I'm not gonna do that. I'm not just gonna immediately put Oppenheimer at number one everywhere just because it just came out, which is a little what a lot of people are doing. I watch a lot of awards people, and immediately they're all like, Oppenheimer's gonna win, Chris Nolan's gonna win, Cillian Murphy's gonna win, Robert Downey Jr.'s gonna win, screenplay is gonna win, cinematography is gonna win, editing. And I'm like, guys. There's still like 40 movies that have to come out of the festivals. Calm down. So I'm sticking with Killers. It's what I had at top before. I'm sticking with Killers. However, I do think Oppenheimer has raised its profile a lot, and it is my number two choice now. I think it's got a really excellent chance of being nominated. It clearly proved it's a strong biopic with lots of editing. Its box office kind of makes it undeniable at this point. It probably will break $300 million, which is kind of crazy for a biopic. It's like above 260 right now as I'm recording, so I can't really see it not making it, and it's serious, and Nolan does have two previous nominations. I think at bare minimum it gets nominated. I just don't know if it wins. Number three, I'm sticking with Past Lives. I want to see. I'm sticking with Past Lives until I see something else that really just jumps out at me from A24. Because A24 is going to get a nomination. They prove that this is what they do. They campaign and they get nominations. Even if they don't get wins, they do really well throughout award season, and they have an ability to campaign a handful of films that get nominations, all in a bunch of precursor awards, so they can juggle several different things at one time. I think Past Lives is their priority right now. I don't know if it will remain the priority, but it's staying strong at number three. Number four is The Holdovers. I saw the trailer for this when I went to see Oppenheimer, and man, this feels so Oscar baity, and we have to have something that's uplifting. They can't all just be depressing fucking films. They're not all going to do that. So something's going to come in that's going to be that sort of traditional, heartwarming, possible make you cry at the end type of film. And this just feels so... That's either the best edited trailer ever or something. But I know they spent $25 million on this, and I don't think Focus did that because they thought the film was a scrub. I think they know what they got. And I think we're all about to find out when this hits a festival and people will actually see it and critics review it, just exactly what they're sitting on here. Number 5 for me, is The Color Purple. I still think this is going to get nominated. For some reason, this is dropping off of people's lists, and they're like, well, I just don't think Warner Brothers is going to get 3 nominations. I just I just don't think Warner Brothers. I don't think Color Purple is third. I don't think Color Purple is gonna fall off the list. I'm sorry, I don't. I think it's gonna be a strong contender right at the end of the year. What its biggest competition is Wonka for musical. Like what? Most people aren't projecting Wonka in anything except for maybe like production or costume design. So I don't really think how a film that most people have Best Actress like winning Fantasia Barrino right now. Why is this falling off? Plus, I think Dune is gonna move. I don't even have it anymore in my top. So anyway, Color Purple, number 5. Number 6 on the list. This is where we get a little bit more, interesting. I've still got Anatomy of a Fall. There will be an international nominee here. There has been every year. Feels like Anatomy of a Fall is that person. It's the Palme d'Or winner. Puts Neon in the race. Neon's going to get a film in the race. Neon might get 2 films in the race this year. We'll see when we get down a little bit lower. But Anatomy of a Fall is number 6 for me. Number 7, I actually think it's weird for me to put this here, but I'm willing to acknowledge the fact that Barbie has a shot at the Oscars. I really am. I'm at that point now. It's made so much money and it is really well liked that I feel like it's the nominee that can't win, but it's the nominee that gets the nomination to recognize how well it did at the box office. I don't think anybody last year thought Avatar 2 was going to win the award, but it made a ridiculous amount of money at the box office. And I don't know how they don't nominate Barbie. I mean, I actually think it's going to end up in the mix. It's going to get some craft nominations. I don't think it's going to be a major player at the box office. People who are projecting 10 nominations for this, I think it's a bit much. Just sorry to call you guys out, but it's a bit much. So I'm not really sure that's going to be there. Number 8 is my requisite Netflix nominee, because Netflix is going to get one of their films in. And I think a lot of people are projecting Maestro. There's something about the reshoots on Maestro that bother me. I'm actually leaning with May, December. I think it would be, there was something that was very weird about how they launched all of these campaigns for all these films, and then they ended up having to come back and lean on All Quiet on the Western Front last year. And that ended up being the thing. I think here, the thing that stands out to me about their slate of films is that May, December is their acquisition. A lot of the other titles that they're pushing were developed in-house and not acquired. They were making Maestro, they were making The Killer, they're making Rustin, they were making these films, but they bought May, December. So it has a possibility of getting multiple acting nominations. I'm putting it in my top 10 for right now. So that leaves 2 spots. And this is where I'm having a little bit of a hard time, because I could interchange a lot of films into these spots. And I'm not going in the same direction that other people are. I still need a Searchlight film. I think it's weird I don't have a Searchlight film. And I think maybe I could have another A24, I could have another Neon film. I think this is going to be a really interesting combination, especially if Dune leaves open a spot. This is on the predication that Dune does not make the list this year. I think this could be any number of films. Just there's a little handful that I'm interested in. I'm interested in Ferrari. The fact that Neon snapped this up doesn't even feel like a film Neon would normally be interested in. Makes me really interested in what Michael Mann did with Ferrari. It's going to multiple festivals, so I'm intrigued. I'm still intrigued by Next Goal Wins. I know that there's this weird faction of people out there that hate Taika Waititi right now, but he's been a pretty solid filmmaker. And if Next Goal Wins can follow more of along the lines of Hunt for the Wilder People, which was a very underrated film of his that absolutely should have been more buzzy. Um, Next Goal Wins could end up sneaking here and taking one of the last two spots. I am actually thinking about Poor Things because we could have a quirky film like that in the race. I don't think it would be that weird. This could be the first year we have two foreign language titles. The Zone of Interest could break in. That could be A24's other nomination. Their Maestro could actually end up being good. It could. Netflix could get two nominations. There are definitely a couple possibilities to pick right now. Nyad. I still think Nyad is a contender. I can't get past the fact that that is the directing team behind Nyad. I think people are really undercutting this film, and until somebody watches this film, until all the critics watch it and they're like, no, this film is terrible, I'm not jumping off the Nyad bandwagon. So, yeah, it's like 9 and 10. I could just plop any two films in there right now, but really there's about 6 to 8 films that are taking up the last two spots for me, and I'm just kind of waiting for people to watch them. So, I guess just for the sake of pushing back against what people are not predicting, I'll say Nyad and Ferrari, 9 and 10. I'll put another two biopics in the race. So I don't know it's going to be those two, but there are definitely some contenders that I think are being very undervalued in this race. Best director, I think this is pretty easy. Again, I'm going to do this without Denis Villeneuve, because I don't think Dune is opening. I think this is Martin Scorsese and Chris Nolan really battling it out for first place. I think Jonathan Glazer gets that directing surprise nomination. I think his film's probably going to get international and directing. It's going to get that package to it for Zone of Interest. And then I think the last two spots have a very good chance of going to female directors. I think Celine Song still is a very hard to topple contender. She is new. She is like brand new. She's baby out of the womb new. And Greta Gerwig is coming in being the first $1 billion director of a Barbie film. And there's something about that just really kind of shakes me. And her vision and everything. When we talk about directors with visions, and I wonder who's gonna win. Are they both gonna get nominated? Can this category hold the two female nominations? I'm really intrigued by that. But I think it's possible that Gerwig actually ends up getting the nomination and not Celine Song, because Celine is, again, this is her debut film, so it's probably not going to happen for her. And then we swing in with something like totally unexpected, possibly something that didn't even get a picture nomination, but is a well-respected director. This could be a Michael Mann for Ferrari. He's a well-respected director, and he could just swoop in. This could also be a way of, everybody always points out that David Fincher's films always get an Oscar nomination. What if David Fincher got nominated for The Killer, but The Killer didn't get any nominations? But they were just like, welcome, David Fincher. We liked your film. We liked what you did with it. I think it's very interesting. I think it's going to be something that people are not thinking about. I don't think it's going to be Color Purple. Yeah, I think that 5th nomination, because we're usually not this good at predicting Oscars in advance. We're not locking in our top 10s and top 5s right now. So it's trying to figure out what is that weird film that swings in at the last minute. And I think it could be something like Michael Mann or David Fincher. And people aren't really talking about either one of those. So, anyway, moving on. Best actor. Yeah, this is really hard to debate. I think DiCaprio's got a nomination for Killers. I think Cillian Murphy's got a nomination for Oppenheimer. Um, I think Bradley Cooper's going to get a nomination for Maestro, regardless of how the film performs. I think it's just going to be one of those caked in makeup performances where, even at the end of the day, he might be his film's only nomination. You know, if the film starts falling away and it falls out of picture, it falls out of director, Carey Mulligan loses a shot, he could end up just getting this and makeup. You know, I don't know that he'll win, but he's been nominated too many times for me to think that he's gonna fall out of the race entirely. I think Paul Giamatti is gonna get nominated for The Holdovers, and that fifth spot is really interesting for me because I feel like it's gonna come from a smaller film. Maybe something we haven't seen yet. Could be something like Anthony Hopkins in One Life. I'm still looking really heavily at David Strathairn's A Little Prayer. I want to see what they do with that. I don't like the fact that it's not having like a resurgence at film festivals. That bothers me a lot. I'm kind of giving up on Long Day's Journey into Night because it doesn't have a distributor and it also hasn't really announced anywhere. Saltburn is going to London Film Festival, which feels like an underwhelming debut for Saltburn, so I'm not really about Barry Keoghan. Michael Fassbender's like literally competing against himself in two different roles. So we're gonna need to figure out what it is that we're voting for him for before we predict what it is he's gonna get nominated for, because he's in two films that are in the Oscar race right now. I don't think it goes to Teo Yu. I don't think Past Lives can get that many nominations. I don't think Matt Damon's gonna sneak in for Air. Kingsley Benadir's Bob Marley biopic doesn't even technically have a release date this year. We just all assume it's going to go limited at the end of the year, but really doesn't actually have a date. So there are a lot of random possibilities. I know a lot of people think Coleman Domingo for Rustin kind of goes along with that Bradley Cooper idea that, oh, believe it, if the film's bad, Coleman could still get a nomination. True. I think that's possible, but he's also in Color Purple. So I think it would be awesome if he actually got dual nominations because we haven't seen that in a while. But he's also not really where my hat is landing. Actually, my hat is landing on Adam Driver for the fifth spot for Ferrari. Adam Driver is one of those sort of rising actors. He doesn't always get nominated, but he does get talked about. And if this Ferrari thing ends up being a thing, then it's possible Adam Driver gets a nomination for Ferrari. So that's been it. That's my top 5 right now. Although I would say interchangeably, I just wish if they were taking A Little Prayer somewhere else, I would have David Strathairn in at number 5. But he just worries me. It's like, why is this film not going anywhere else? Put this at Venice, put this at Toronto, do something with it. There's also Jeffrey Wright's new film, American Fiction, that just kind of dropped into the race at the last minute. You can't even predict it at Gold Derby. It'd be interesting to see what happens when that is added to the list of films that you can predict. So, what are we at? Best Actress. Actually, I'm moving this around a little bit, and this is my cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs moment. I'm gonna call Annette Bening as the front runner. There's something about Fantasia, and I feel like we go to the well too many times where I trust that Hollywood is going to give the Academy Award nomination to a black actress, and then they don't. Last year, we were like pretty damn sure Danielle Detweiler was going to get a nomination, and she didn't. And generally, when it seems like a black actress is going to win, they end up not. Viola Davis from Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, being a loss, ends up not happening. I think this category, I'm looking at the nominees here, and Annette Bening is one of those actresses that gets talked about a lot for how she has not won. And I think if I'm right, and Jessica Lange's Long Day's Journey into Night moves out of the race because it's not opening this year. It does not have a distributor, and it's also not. It has not been announced at a festival yet. So if that moves to 2024, Annette loses out from competition from any sort of legacy nominee, and she'll campaign and she'll go around and she'll be charming, and this might actually finally be her year. She might actually finally take it for Naiad. So Annette Bening is now my number one. I've got Fantasia Barrino at number 2 for Color Purple. At number 3, I've got Greta Lee for Past Lives. At number 4, I've got Sandra Hüller for Anatomy of a Fall. And at number 5, this is a toss-up. This is a spot where I would say it's either like Natalie Portman for May December, it's Emma Stone for Poor Things, it's it's maybe Margot Robbie for Barbie, although I feel a little bit less certain about that. I don't know that she can go along with that. Right now, I'll go with Natalie Portman for May December. I think it's a safer nomination. Yeah, so anyway. All right, supporting actor. Again, another little interesting conglomerate of people. I do think Robert De Niro is still the front runner here for Killers of the Flower Moon. It's like, is it time for Robert Downey Jr. to win for Oppenheimer? If it is, then it's him getting the win for something. We're back to that thing of giving somebody the Oscar as like it's their time, not necessarily for that performance. From what I've heard from De Niro, though, is he actually gives a commanding performance. And since he was snubbed for The Irishman, I think there will be more of a focus on De Niro this time around to get him a nomination and for him to win. I don't think Jesse Plemons at all is going to get in this category. I don't think there's going to be a double nomination. I've heard his role is nothing, basically, from people who have seen the film. He just doesn't really do anything. So I think it's between De Niro and Downey Jr. right now. I haven't seen another performance come along. I've heard a lot about Charles Melton for May December, and how he actually, for somebody who doesn't have the name of the actresses he shares screen time with, really holds his own, and I think that could be something that's really important and gets him the nomination. So I have him at number 3. I have Coleman Domingo for The Color Purple at number 4. And number 5 is that interesting who falls in line here, who gets the 5th spot. Do I believe Ryan Gosling can get that comedic actor nomination? There's a lot of push for him right now, but then again, Barbie just opened like a week ago. Not really a week ago, but a few weeks ago. Barbie just opened a few weeks ago. So he's still riding high off of that. And I'm talking like in January, are we still going to be talking about Ryan Gosling as like a strong contender? I don't know. I'm not totally feeling it. I think I'm going to go with John Magaro for right now for Past Lives. I'm going to say Past Lives picks up 2 acting nominations, not 3. And I think Teo Yu is harder to get in the lead category than John Magaro in supporting actor. So that's where I'm at. But there are some performances that I'm looking at. I just need to hear about some films. Like, I'm really interested in the kid from The Holdovers. He intrigues me. We did kind of do like a Lucas Hedges thing a while back with Manchester by the Sea. What's this kid got in his performance? What's he got going on? He's not somebody I would normally put up there. You know, we didn't get Gabriel LaBelle last year for The Fabelmans. It doesn't always happen. But we'll just have to see. And then finally, my supporting actress nominees go to... I still have Lily Gladstone in first place for Killers of the Flower Moon. I probably should have said, but up in the Best Actor race, that I don't really have a clear front runner. I think it's Leo or it's Cillian. I would put them at equal right now. I think it's a coin toss as to who wins. I think Cillian could be the win for Oppenheimer. But because I just, it took Leo forever to get his second nomination after Gilbert Grape. It took him like all the way till The Aviator or whatever to get nominated again. It's just so ridiculous. But and then he had to Revenant his way to an Oscar. It's like, yeah, they nominate him because he's constantly an Oscar bait, but I'm not really buying that he's going to come and get a second win this early in his career. I think it's possible Killian could, but I also think Paul Giamatti could. I don't really have a front runner Best Actor right now. I think that probably all have an equal shot up there. I think that's a really tight race. But I do think Lily Gladstone is ahead in Supporting Actress. I think she's ahead of Danielle Brooks for The Color Purple. I think she's ahead of The Holdovers, Divine Joy Randolph. I think she's ahead of Julianne Moore for May, December. And then my final slot is a question. It's, do we get the second Color Purple? Does it go to Taraji? She's in the role that gets nominated but doesn't win. And in a tight race, I don't know. I don't know that she stays in and doesn't get kicked out. But I don't know that May December can get all three cast members nominated. Maybe Julianne Moore doesn't get nominated. There are some other possible nominations. Rosamund Pike interests me here for Saltburn in a way where I think it's too soon for Barry Keoghan to get his second nomination, like back to back, and then suddenly it's in lead. It's sort of the Timothée Chalamet effect, where, he got nominated for Call Me By Your Name, then everybody thought he was going to get the supporting nomination for Beautiful Boy, and he didn't. That's my comp there, and why I'm ignoring that. Plus, I've heard Saltburn's a thriller, and I'm not doing the whole The Sun thing again, where we assume just because the last film a person made that the second film would be amazing. Saltburn may not be an Oscar bait film, guys. It may be The Sun. I hate to say it. Something is going to be The Sun this year. I don't think we're talking enough about that, but something is going to be The Sun. So, but I'll leave Taraji in for right now. But I think she's fifth place for me. I think that's Lily's to lose. God help her if she tries to move it to lead, because she won't win. But she'll get Michelle Williams, where she'll get like a nomination. She'll knock somebody out of a nomination spot. But she actually has a really strong chance at winning from everything that I've heard. I think this is hers. So that's it. Yeah, I think we might have ourselves a case of Color Purple getting a bunch of nominations again and not winning any of them. That's what I'm projecting. And I think people are missing out on that opportunity, where Color Purple could get a ton of nominations that it once again wins 0 in a shocking turn of events. I just feel so weird to say that two people from the same season of American Idol become Oscar winners. Anyway, and that Fantasia Barrino is the second Black actress. Like, we've waited this long, and we keep trying to pump up, and we're like, oh, it's going to go to Viola. Oh, it's going to be, we just, like, there's so many people over the years that have had their opportunity and their shot. And then Fantasia comes in and just sings I'm Here, and they're like, Oscar. Give her an Oscar. Screw Viola Davis. Give this girl an Oscar. I don't know. It feels so weird to me. But thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Those are my choices right now. And we'll see what happens after the festivals. See you guys on the other side.